Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Status Checks with Chaplain Pat. Just a quick video with no budget, no editing, definitely low tech, all designed to give you as the first responder some tips and some tools on how to manage your sanity. You know, as first responders, we have been given front row seats to the greatest show on earth, the show that we call humanity, right? And in the show, we get to see all of the good, the bad, the ugly, and most definitely the horrific that humanity has to offer. But this isn't just like any show that you would just go sit, watch, and enjoy. Because this show requires audience participation. And the actors in this show are drawing people right off the front row. And we become immersed and involved in the show in and of itself. So you can say that as first responders, we are literally immersed in humanity. We are immersed in the greatest show on earth. We are immersed in society's trauma. And because of this immersion in trauma, it really starts to impact a lot of different levels of our world, right? And one of those levels is our identity. That's what I want to talk to you about today. The trap of or what I would call the identity trap of the first responder. You see, in our first response world, it literally requires 100% of our emotional investment in order to survive the job. I have to be 100% emotionally invested in everything that I'm doing because this job is intense. It's stressful. The circumstances that we deal with are oftentimes dangerous. We're dealing with other people's lives. We're immersed in the trauma of the world around us. And in order to survive that, we have to be 100% plugged in to what we're doing in the circumstances of which we're involved in and the people that are involved in those circumstances. It requires a tremendous amount of emotional energy. Every year, Forbes magazine and careercast.com comes out with a ranking, the top 10 ranking of the most stressful jobs that anybody could have. And consistently every year, the first response world is in the top of that top 10 ranking, saying that this job is incredibly stressful. But when you look at it, it's not necessarily the job in and of itself. It's the environment in which we work. Our environment, the first response environment, is extremely stressful. One of the things that Dr. Gil Martin talks about in his presentation, Emotional Survival, is about emotional energy. You start your day with a certain level of emotional energy, and throughout your day, you spend that emotional energy. And because of the first response world and the connections that we have within this world, it requires 100% of that emotional energy, which means that when our job is done and we go home, we don't have any emotional energy left to invest into the things that are around us. So what is emotional energy? Well, emotional energy is about connection. It's about how we connect to the things that are around us and to the people that are in the world around us. And the higher the intensity, the higher the level of stress, the more intense focus of concentration I have to have, the more emotional energy I end up spending. And how is this linked to our identity? Well, I'll tell you. Our identity is found in where we invest our emotions. My identity is found in where I invest myself on that emotional level. And so if I'm 100% invested into my job, and I have to be because of the type of work that this is, no wonder my identity begins to get wrapped up into what it is that I do. People ask all the time, so what do you do? What do you do for work? Well, I am a firefighter. I am a police officer. I am a 911 operator. That's a great description of what it is that I do, but it's deeper than that for us. It's not just what I do. It actually literally becomes who I am, right? It becomes my identity because my identity is found where I emotionally invest myself. And herein lies the problem, or herein lies what we call the emotional identity trap. Who I am. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. No editing, right? Yeah. So this identity, the identity of the first responder, when I find my identity in what I do, when things in my job don't go well, or I don't like the circumstances, or I don't like what's happening with my world, or I feel emotionally off, it actually begins to eat away at the root of who I am. It drives how I feel about myself, and it drives how I feel about the world around me. When I feel like I'm no longer making a difference in the world, or that my job satisfaction is getting lower because of the stressors involved in this job, I start to actually question who I am as a person. So the struggle for us as first responders is finding balance in what it is that we invest ourselves in emotionally, where I invest myself emotionally. And another interesting part to this is that our hope is also tied to our identity and to our emotional investment. Hope is an optimistic state of mind in regards to the expectation of a positive outcome to the circumstances of which I am involved in. So I find hope in that positive expectation, but when I lose that positive expectation of what's going on around me, I start to lose my hope. Interestingly enough, is that the loss of hope is a key predictor in the development of post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's been said that where there is no hope, or where hope is lost, people perish. In other words, they start to die a very slow death. And so as first responders, we have to guard our identity. We have to understand that our identity is not found in what it is that we do, but it's found in who we are. And who we are is found in where we invest ourselves. So that brings up the question, where am I emotionally investing myself? Is it 100% into what I do as a job? Or is it finding balance, not only investing into the job, but also investing into the world around me that's outside of my job? We have to find that balance. And I will tell you, it's not easy. In fact, from my own personal experience, it is not easy. And I don't do it right often. It doesn't come naturally, to be honest with you. But it's something that I have to continually work at. It's something that you have to continually work at. And that's the basis of resiliency. To continue to strive to be good, to be better, to continue to strive to get back up again when being knocked down, right? That's what resiliency is. So if I can do it, you can do it. And if you can do it, I can do it, because we need each other when it comes to these things, right? So where do you find your hope? Where do you find your identity? Who are you as a person? These are great questions to ponder as we think about the strength of the emotional strength of a first responder. Yeah, I am a first responder, but that's not who I am. It's simply what I do. So that's a challenge for all of us, right? All right, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for listening. I will catch you next time.